That particular buck just kind of haunted me the rest of the year till I got back here last year. Hunted hard for him, passed up a lot of really nice, good mature bucks, bucks in the 150s and 160s. This particular place is one of my absolute favorite, if not one of my all-time favorite places to hunt whitetail deer.
My old Kentucky honey hole. That's what host Larry Weishuhn should call this little slice of whitetail heaven. On this episode of Whitetail Revolution, Larry is hunting the largest chunk of private land in the entire state of Kentucky. Better yet, the property has been managed extensively to produce high-scoring, high-quality bucks. And that's just the type of whitetail Larry's looking for.
He's got some long tines. Looks really good.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by
Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Otis Technologies, the most advanced gun care system in the world. Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting. Winchester Rifles and Shotguns, the guns that work.
Kentucky undoubtedly is one of my favorite places on earth to hunt whitetail deer because they grow them big up here, and there are lots of them. This particular place has been in a management program now for about almost 6 years, and there's a tremendous amount of mature deer and a lot of those 3- and 4-year-old deer that are almost there.
The Game Trails Farm is located in the rolling hills of northwest Kentucky. The farm consists of 12,000 acres of flat farmland, rolling hills, and pastures that give way to deep river bottom habitat along the Ohio and Tradewater rivers.
Almost anywhere you go, whitetail deer are whitetail deer, but how you hunt them sometimes is a little bit different. In this part of the country where we are now, where there are huge big bottoms, wide open fields, and I'm talking about wide open fields because the crops have been harvested, the techniques that we'll employ are a little bit different than what I might in South Texas, or even maybe if you're hunting in the grass country of Kansas, in that there are a lot of little pinch points, little bottlenecks, areas too where there's a great amount of oak trees. These oak trees have really been productive in terms of acreage, so the deer should be in those oak bottoms, the edge of those oak bottoms. And in terms of techniques, it's just going to be kind of walking in, finding a place that literally feels good. Maybe a place where I found a rub or a scrape or several scrapes, or where I've seen deer in the past, and just sitting there and waiting for something to come by. If nothing comes by, pick up and move. If it get cold, maybe hit the horns together and see if we can't rattle up a buck. Oh, he looks like about a 3-year-old. 10 points. Probably a 130 or so, not real long tines, about ear wide. Not grown from, you know, those older bucks will have a thick neck from the point of their jaw outward. This one is kind of almost slim, so it's probably about a 3-year-old. He is wanting us to move. There's another one. It's an older deer. I guess he's looking at us right now. He's well past the point of his jaw. His neck comes way out. He's 9 points though. Got a little bit of flab underneath his jaw. God, I think it's just a little bit bigger. Saw a big deer feeding on this edge yesterday afternoon. It's so late we couldn't tell what he was, but he had a big body, real deep, long, big old neck. So hopefully he'll come back out of here again. These woods back over that way are just absolutely loaded with all kinds of deer. So just hope they come out to feed early this afternoon. This is my 6th year of hunting this particular property, and in the past I've been extremely fortunate to take several deer in the 140s, 150s, a 160, and then last year a 180 that was almost a 190. In this particular instance, I'm looking for a mature deer, one that's at least 4 years of age. I'm looking for that older age class of a deer that's got good mass, long tines. And like I say, I'm coming here with the expectation that, hey, if I get a chance at a deer like that, I'm going to take it. But if not, I'm going to try to take a buck that needs to come off the property in terms of a management buck, or maybe even go home without any venison this year. I know they're coming out in here to feeding on the edges here. He's kind of makeshift blind set up here this evening. That'll work. The Game Trails property here in Kentucky is something that Greg Ritz and I found about 6 years ago. We got a chance to hunt it, had the opportunity to actually lease it, and so we did. We leased the hunting rights on it. It's a mixture of both farmland, woods, and also a little bit of grazing. So it's a combination of several different things of agricultural practices going on here. And what we've done the last several years is just really kind of harvest the does extremely hard, take that doe population down quite a bit, leave those bucks alone at least until they're about 3 years of age, because at 3-year-old, these bucks will score 140 or better. And if they get in those older age classes beyond that, you're talking about a potential buck deer, or at least a gross buck deer. A lot of management has gone into this particular property over the last 4 or 5 years in terms of harvesting, and also in terms of making sure that those animals have plenty to eat. Agriculture, yes, it's here, but the other thing we've been able to do and see is by reducing that overall population of deer, the native browse species have really come back strong, especially things like honeysuckle, American beautyberry, and a bunch of other things. But that honeysuckle is so important for this part of the country because it's a great winter browse. Really nice buck. It's not the right one.
Let's get to this week's Whitetail Insider, your source for the latest in the ever-changing world of whitetail hunting. Mature bucks know just where to go when the pressure's on, and they don't care how big the property is or who owns it.
Bow hunter Jeff Bruner had been watching a giant buck for 2 years on his Wisconsin land. One day last fall, he had the great typical at 15 yards, just couldn't get a good bow shot. He told his wife Lisa about it. She joked, "Fate must want me to shoot that buck." Turns out she was a prophet. On the gun opener, Lisa went out and dropped the monster with one shot from her 7mm mag. The beautiful 6x6 grossed $185 and netted $179. It's proof that you can see and shoot giant bucks on 100 acres or less. Just put in the time, the sweat equity, and the money, and then hunt your land smartly. From the Big Buck Zone, I'm Mike Hanback.
Digging in real deep. I'd like to see him. I don't care how you hunt whitetail deer, but to me, the most fun way there is to get right in there with them, get in those areas where you can sit down there with the rattling horns, hit those horns together, and wait for those bucks to come in. You know, I've hunted whitetail deer by every other method that you can do it legally and ethically, and there is just nothing that compares to rattling up those big whitetail bucks, or even a little one when he comes in. Oh man, there's a good buck right there. Oh yeah, he's young. Real narrow. But he's got 8 points. He is gonna be a dandy. About 3 years. dearly love hunting up here. So many different bucks. Love it, I love it, I love it. During the middle part of the day, particularly these deer will get up and feed in these areas. The rut's going on, so you never know for sure where you're going to see that old big buck. There's a really good chance you might find one in these little bottoms, just kind of easing along, checking for does, maybe going for scrapes, to check his scrapes. You just never know, but what a great way to spend the middle part of the day. Nice buck. Thank goodness he wasn't quite what I was looking for. When you rattle, you know, everybody expects those bucks to just come charging in. They don't. A lot of times they'll come slipping in. There's no telling how long that buck back there was standing there looking at me. They'll do that so very often. Come in, stop, and then just look and try to catch your scent. When you're out rattling, you need to continually be looking all around you. And it's a good idea a lot of times when you sit down to look all around you to notice if there's anything that kind of looks like a deer that you won't be looking at later on, but also looking where you think that deer might come up, and so often they come up behind you, as that deer did. But continue to be looking, let your eyes do most of the looking, because the good thing about movement is those deer do expect a little bit of movement when they come to horns. So you can get by with a little movement, but let your eyes do most of the work for you. Thank goodness he wasn't the one I was looking for. Just be looking at him right there. Just because he's got a big head and he's heavy doesn't mean look like you got to be straining, does it? Reliving that there.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by
Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Otis Technologies, the most advanced gun care system in the world. Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting. Winchester Rifles and Shotguns, the guns that work.
Hunting requires the type of concentration and motor skills that some children simply develop before others. Should it be up to the parents to decide, or should state governments put a reasonable age restriction on young hunters to ensure the safety of both the child and other hunters? In this segment of Overheard, hosts Mark Kaiser and Mike Hanback debate this age-old question.
You know, as a parent, I've been following this whole issue of when should kids be allowed to hunt. And I'm really getting fired up about it because, again, I've got two young kids, a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, and one of them is just itching to hunt. And I live in a state where they have to wait till they're 12 years old. It's not the state's job to decide when I, as a parent, know that my child is responsible enough to hunt.
We're losing kids to hunting. That's a big issue, and I agree with that. We are. It's the reality of it. But, you know, is moving the age back is the issue here, back to 10, back to 8. And I'm not so sure.
Is my 9-year-old ready to hunt? I say he is.
I coach a lot of baseball. I've done that growing up and coached from t-ball on up and football and soccer. And a lot of these kids just aren't mature enough to keep their focus on what they're doing in a ball sport, much less go out there and sit with their dad or mom with a firearm and actually kill a deer.
What the state should do is set up some type of criteria to give these kids a basis of education and knowledge to help them be ready to hunt.
One of the worst things I think we could do is push our kids to get involved too soon and too quick. It's like anything else. If they have a bad experience with it, if they don't like shooting a deer or whatever, if they don't have that good first experience, they're not ready for it, that might do more harm than it does good.
Let the parent decide when they're old enough to hunt.
If they have to wait till 10 or 12, the world's not going to come to an end. They can still grow up and be a great hunter. If they start when they're 12, there are people that are shooting deer 18 being great hunters. So it's not so much putting an actual year on it, I don't think, or an age, as it is to when a kid is ready.
Log on to versus.com to tell us where you stand on the debate.
Just be looking at him right there. Oh, there, right there. Good. As a writer, a wildlife biologist, somebody who works with television shows, I get the opportunities to hunt a lot of different places. But when you get right down to it, this particular place, the Game Trails place in western Kentucky, right on the Ohio River, is one of my absolute favorite, if not one of my all-time favorite places to hunt whitetail deer. There's always that mystery here because it's a great big place, a lot of woods. You never know what's going to step out. It could be the next world record. Probably one of the best advantages to quality deer management program has nothing to do with the deer herd or even the habitat from a deer's perspective, and the fact that anytime that you reduce that deer population to what it can support in the worst of times on that particular habitat, you greatly increase it for all the non-game species, such as the songbirds, all the little invertebrates, predators, small game animals, game birds. Everything benefits from it, and most of all, the habitat itself benefits because a healthy habitat produces a very healthy wildlife population, not just whitetail deer, but all the different species. I know that there are a lot of hunters that would rather shoot a small buck over a doe, and then they can't figure out why they can't shoot a big buck somewhere down the way. Well, if you use your tag and you've only got one tag for a whitetail buck and you use it on a small one, you're not going to be able to hunt anymore that year. The other thing is if you continually take those younger bucks, they're not going to get into those older age classes that really produce the nice kind of antlers that a lot of hunters like. Why not take a big doe? The meat's a lot better, it's going to taste a lot better, and it's going to help the habitat, but it'll also help that deer herd. And chances are, with the way most states are these days, you can take a buck and a doe. So it still allows you to go out and hunt for that big buck that you're looking for.
A buck deer without one horn. There's a one horn buck deer. I can't believe that buck didn't have both horns. If he had both antlers, that'd have been a Boone Crockett buck. No doubt. There's a buck over there. I sent it this way. Oh, he's gonna get in that slough, that low spot. Maybe he'll come back out. Until he's got some long tines. Looks really good. Oh, he just disappeared behind that little slough right there. Oh, come on this way. Come on out, come on out. He's coming out, he's coming out. Just get that body up above that berm just a little bit. Oh, there he comes. There he comes. But I want to tell you something. That's exciting. Last afternoon. There he is. Oh man, what a nice buck. He is not very wide, but he's got some excellent timing. Drag him out of this grass here. What a nice deer. It has been an unbelievable hunt. We've rattled up bucks, we have sat, we have watched, had an absolute monster one-horn buck that would have easily gone Boone and Crockett, and then finally right at the very last light, here comes this deer. Oh man, thank you, Lord. What a beautiful buck. Another good Kentucky deer.
Really nice buck, probably ended up scoring about 140 or so. Came out, disappeared behind a little bit of something there, with a little slough, and then when he came back out again, I was able to get the gun on him. Fabulous buck. What a great hunt. But with all the really good young bucks I saw, I can't wait to come back next year. Man, if that one buck, especially that one that had that broken main beam, my gosh, he'd have been a 180. Just think what he could be next year.